Today, crypto prices are on the rise after the latest read of the Consumer Price Index. Acting CFTC Chair Caroline Pham is joining crypto payments firm MoonPay. And Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong explains the company's new prediction market offering. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Brandon Gomez. Digital currencies are in the green after the latest CPI reading showed inflation rose less than expected in November. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin climbed to just under the $88,000 level, Ether rose to $29.42, and XRP rose to $1.91. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Acting CFTC Chair Caroline Pham is leaving the agency and heading to MoonPay. The crypto payments company announced yesterday that Pham will become the Chief Legal Officer and Chief Administrative Officer of MoonPay when she concludes her role at the CFTC. MoonPay just secured a New York trust charter back in November, and Pham said she was excited to join the company at a pivotal moment. Chair Pham was instrumental in the CFTC's pro-crypto pivot this year, but she's also planned to leave the agency for months. Finding her replacement has been a challenge for the Trump administration, as the president's original pick to lead the agency, financial manager and former CFTC Commissioner Brian Quintes, reportedly faced pushback, including from the Winklevoss twins. The president withdrew that nomination and tapped Michael Selig, a crypto-focused lawyer, to take on the position instead. Selig now awaits a full vote in the Senate. Next, the SEC is clarifying some of its rules around tokenized securities. In a statement put out yesterday by the agency's Division of Trading and Markets, the SEC said it wouldn't object to a broker-dealer holding crypto asset securities as long as they followed some guidelines. Namely, the SEC wants broker-dealers to assess the characteristics of a tokenized securities ledger, establish procedures and safeguards to protect against theft and loss of private keys, and prevent situations that could lead the broker-dealer to lose access to the security. The SEC has signaled a willingness to allow tokenized securities, including a no-action letter to the DTCC, which clears the way for the company's tokenization service. This latest statement from the SEC could boost Wall Street's efforts to bring blockchain and tokenization to all kinds of assets. All right, speaking of tokenization and stocks, Coinbase making a slew of announcements yesterday at its System Update event, including an overhaul of its app to include stock trading and prediction markets. The company also laid out a roadmap for its tokenization efforts. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sagalos sat down with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong after the event to learn more.
I'm here with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you've been talking about diversifying beyond crypto for a while now. What made this the right moment to get into all of these different products that you're launching today?
Yeah, well, crypto is updating all financial services, and so we're seeing every asset class come on chain as part of that, including prediction markets, equities, commodities. Eventually, tokenization of real-world assets is going to be across every category. Real estate, even the biggest asset managers out there, like Larry Fink and Mark Rowan, are kind of saying they want to update all of their funds and put them on chain. So Coinbase is the best company to do that. We're announcing today, or we announced already, really the Everything Exchange, and we also announced a product called Coinbase Tokenized, where we can help take any asset and bring it on chain.
And what do you say to perhaps critics that might say this is just a copy-paste of the Robinhood playbook?
Yeah, well, our customers, we just try to go talk to them about what they want, and our customers are storing $500 billion of assets across retail and institutional, far more than any other company, probably 10x or so the amount of crypto assets Robinhood is holding. So we try to just talk to our customers and bring the products and services into one place where they can do everything they need.
And the prediction market space, it seems to be increasingly crowded. You've got original players like Kalshi, and then Robinhood has come into that. Talk to me about what your competitive advantage is here.
Yeah. Well, first, it's just, again, we want to serve our own customers. But beyond that, I think as we're the experts in crypto. We've been doing this the longest. We have the most trusted brand, and I think we have the most assets, right? So trading stocks is the good first step. But if we can actually get tokenized equities live, that'll democratize access for people all over the world. It'll allow us to do things like perpetual futures markets for equities in the US. So this is the starting point, but we try to focus on our own customers.
I do want to come back to tokenized equities in a minute, but before that, what do you say to people who just think of prediction markets as glorified gambling?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think prediction markets are much more than that, right? So if you look at things like economic indicators, or is the Suez Canal going to be open next month, or elections, people are using prediction markets to try to figure out what is going to happen next month. maybe 1% of people use it as an asset class to trade, and 99% of people are using it as a way to figure out what's going to happen, almost like a competitor to traditional media or maybe even entertainment in some cases. Now, it's true that there also are people doing prediction markets on sports, right? And I think that society is going to have to figure out through the court system and everything, is that gambling or is it not? Is it a new box? So crypto keeps creating these new categories, which are not quite like the thing before, and prediction markets are one of those.
And it's, at least for Robinhood, its fastest growing product line by revenue in the company's history. I imagine you're modeling out what this means for your bottom line. Are you expecting similar growth rates there?
Well, you'll hear more at our next earnings call, but yeah, I'm certainly optimistic on prediction markets.
So let's talk about tokenized equities. You've spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. speaking to lawmakers. Part of that has been in the spirit of getting some of these crypto bills passed into law. You saw success in the context of that stablecoin legislation, the Genius Act. But talk to me about the crypto market infrastructure bill. Where are we on that, and how optimistic are you that we'll see that passed into law in Q1?
Yeah, well, the Genius Act was a major moment for the U.S. to lead on stablecoins, and now market structure legislation has gotten a strong bipartisan vote in the House with the Clarity Act, and the Senate is now deliberating their own version of that bill, both in Senate Ag and Senate Banking, which are the committees looking at it. Now, I'm pretty optimistic, having spoken with a lot of these people multiple times over the last few months, spending a lot of time in D.C., and both of those committees, they have strong bipartisan interest. I'd say crypto is actually probably the most bipartisan issue in D.C. right now. And about 90% of the text of those drafts, in my view, has been agreed upon. So there's a few details to get worked out, but it sounds like they really want to push for Senate committee votes maybe in early next year.
And is that what you need in order to tokenize equities? Because I've had conversations with other stakeholders who say that we are one rule change at the SEC away from being able to do this.
Yeah, so I think my understanding is the SEC could publish something that would allow this to happen now, but what we really want to do is see it get passed into law. And that'll require Congress to act, of course, so that we have, once it's written into law, we know that it's not going to change between different administrations. And that's not a business environment where you can invest for the long term if it might change in the next administration. So we want legislation to get passed. That requires bipartisan consensus in Congress.
Now, as you add stocks and event contracts, are you deliberately diversifying away from transaction-driven crypto revenue? And what does that new mix look like over time?
Well, trading fees will be a material part of our revenue as they are today, but now with just more asset classes. But we've also seen the growth of what we call subscription and services revenue, which is more steady and more predictable. That's things like custody fees and staking fees and payment fees, right, for stablecoin payments. So that's been growing as a percentage of our overall revenue if you look over the last 5 years broadly. And so that's making our stock price more, I'd say, predictable with a less volatile revenue from trading fees only.
And part of the announcement today has to do with this new AI-powered advisor. Reminds me of what Robinhood is doing with Cortex. Talk to me about the differentiator there.
Yeah, well, I think AI is updating lots of things in the economy, all companies, right? And financial services is no exception. So what we see from our customers is that there's a lot of powerful tools in the app. It's the Everything Exchange. It's powering all their financial services. For some people, they could use help just understanding all the different things and how to take advantage of it. For other people, they're already power users, but managing all those things is toil. It's repetitive tasks, and AI can take that workload off their plate. So we're integrating AI into the app now with this AI advisor, and I think it's just going to make it so everybody has the kind of access to these advisors that only wealthy people had in the past.
So bigger picture here, now that you have this new suite of products that are rolling out, is your real competitor another crypto exchange, a broker like Robinhood, a bank? What market are you going after, or all three, I suppose?
Yeah, well, Robinhood is really a competitor just for one of our products, like the retail app would be the most comparable, I'd say. But we also have a product for businesses. We have the largest institutional business in crypto. We serve over 140 government agencies and institutions. We even have a developer platform that's kind of like AWS. We have our own self-custodial wallet called the Base app, and layer 2 solution on top of Ethereum, the Base chain. So Coinbase is really a broad suite of products. We have competitors in each of those spaces. But I think it's really it's our secret to our success that we have all these different products, because it allows us to uniquely do things. Like if you're a business that wants to accept crypto, we can help you. And we also have a bunch of retail consumers who might want to spend at that business, right? Or we can actually pool liquidity on our exchange between institutional traders and retail traders all over the world. So I think it's actually one of the keys to our success is we're a multi-product company, and we just serve different customer segments.
Tell me more about how significant the enterprise customer is to your future growth strategy.
Yeah, so enterprise, whether it's large businesses or financial institutions, these are really key. And we actually have the largest institutional business in crypto, as far as I know, by far. So what we're doing is we're actually powering a lot of the crypto infrastructure for banks. Like we have announced that we're powering crypto for PNC Bank and folks like JP Morgan. We're powering 80% plus of the ETFs that have launched with firms like BlackRock. I think we have over 264 large businesses and institutions now using our crypto as a service infrastructure. And this is how we're going to participate in the value chain as every company comes into the crypto space.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We're back again tomorrow. We'll see you then.